Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of blues, wherever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for what he wanted to know, my top 15 favorite films of 1988. So, let's do it the quick way. Nah, I'm just kidding. Well, the quick way, I'll just say this. Number 15, Waxwork. Number 14, Prison. Number 13, Pulse. Number 12, Watchers. I'm sure right there people are like, what the hell are any of these movies? So that would be backtrack. Number 15, Waxwork. Although I like Waxwork 2, Lost in Time more. The Waxwork I do quite like. I like the idea behind the film, which is a group of people led by Zach Galligan from Gremlins 1 and 2. You also have Deborah Foreman, who was in the 1986 film April Fool's Day, among other films. They're part of this group of people that go to this wax museum, and the neat idea is that if you go past the rope of any of these exhibits, you go into their dimension. So you can have like almost an anthology type of movie within your singular motion picture. So you have this segment is a vampire movie, this segment is a werewolf movie, this one's a mummy movie. And it's very cool to witness. And you get each one or got some nice effects in it. Like the werewolf has a really cool looking werewolf. You get some nice gore, people ripped apart, or vampire fun, especially if you watch the unrated version. Definitely some bloody goodness. David Warner did a nice job as the villain. You got Patrick Macnee, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. See, I'm so bad with names, so I got it wrong, I apologize. You have the guy who played the original John Steele in the original TV show The Avengers. He's in this as one of our good guys. And by the end of the film, you have this monster jamboree where the good guys and the bad guys all fight it out. And I remember as a kid just being amazed by it. And considering the low budget they had, considering the circumstances where some stuff was going on, they had to shoot this big old battle quickly. I think they pulled off as well as they could, considering the circumstances. But yeah, Waxwork, there's a lot of nice references where the different, like you have one display that's a little bit Little Shop of Horrors type. You have one display that it's definitely worth a look if you like monster movies. But yeah, I thought it was a very original take on that stuff. Number 14, Prison. That's one of Rennie Harlin's first movies. Not his very first, but one of his first. I think this is one of the films that helped lead him getting to Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. Then that let him get into films like Die Hard 2 and Ford Fairlane and all that. But Prison has a very young Viggo Mortensen in it. I mean, it takes place in a prison. And this person who died, was electrocuted, wants revenge, and is now trying to take control of the prison. And all this supernatural shenanigans are happening because of it. And I thought Rennie Harlin brought a lot of energy to the movie. You get some really cool set pieces, like a guard gets wrapped up in barbed wire, tied to this chair, and then gets pulled up through the ceiling to get right in front of the warden. Now the warden is played by, I think his name is Lane Smith. I remember he was the publisher Perry White and the TV show Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. He was also the dad in the Pauly Shore film The Son-in-Law. I think you also have Chelsea Field, I believe, who was in The Last Boy Scout as I think he was Bruce Willis's wife in that. He was also Tila in the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe. You do have, oh, what's his name? From Tales from the Hood, the guy who hosted the good shit. He's in this. Really like Prison. I think it's an underrated. There's quite a few movies of horror films set in a prison, but I think this is the best one of a horror film set in a prison. And Rennie Harlan brought a nice touch to it. Number 13, I put Pulse with Joey Lawrence, a little bit of his brother Matthew Lawrence. It's about a kid that goes to his new home and come to find out that a neighbor had passed away, and then come to find out there's something weird going on with the electricity. This pulse, which you never find out where it came from. Some people may get mad about that, but I thought it was better to leave it mysterious, because anything you try to explain is going to come off as silly and stupid. It stars also Cliff DeYoung as the dad. I thought the mom and dad worked well in the movie. They weren't too mean or rude, and even I think it was his stepmom, is actually quite understanding to the kid, and she's wanting to believe in the kid, and lo and behold, parents, step-parents that aren't just complete douchebags. That kind of helps with the proceedings. And Pulse is one of those movies, I like the photography, the creativity of the photography, where the director will get very up close to certain objects and like move through the vents in one camera shot, camera movement. Or like, I don't know if it's micro photography, I don't know how you put it, like get really close to stuff. The director did what he could to make this Pulse alive. And while no, not everything makes sense, like I don't know what electricity has to do with keeping a shower door closed while a woman is getting burned up by the hot water. It's like, I don't know what the shower door has to do with anything. It's not electrical. So while, there are little nitpicks here and there, overall, it's a film I always liked ever since I saw it way back when, and I think it's a bit of an underrated gem of a movie that rarely ever gets talked about. But I think it's a pretty decent watch. I quite like it. And again, I find it a bit underrated. And some of these I'm leaving a bit vague so that for people who do see them, they're not completely spoiled. Number 12, Watchers. Film I talk about a lot. It's cool that we got the second film on Blu-ray. Now here's hoping that the first film gets a Blu-ray one day. Starring Corey Haim, may rest in peace, based on the Dean Koontz novel, where in the movie, Corey Haim is a kid going to school, has a girlfriend, and one day he comes across his dog, his golden retriever. And then pretty soon after, his girlfriend's attacked. He wants to know what's going on. Trying to find out it's this government experiment where this monster is supposed to follow this dog into enemy territory for military purposes, but then the two experiments escaped. Einstein, the dog, is very smart. The monster is a killer, likes to mess up the eyes, more than likely so that no one sees itself, because it doesn't want people to look at it. It's one of those movies that is rated R, but at the same time, it was a film I saw when I was a kid, because like I could relate to Corey Haim. I really liked him. I would say I was more of a Corey Haim than Corey Feldman guy. And while this is a time where his voice was on that peak of maturity, so at times there's a little bit of squeak from time to time in the voice. I still quite enjoyed his performance. I liked the woman that played his mom. Michael Ironside's in the film as a government agent. He's definitely slimy and evil, and it's always great to see Michael Ironside in there. The monster doesn't look the best, but I think that's why, for good reason, they don't show much of it. Like, they show its silhouette. I think the director has some nice shots, like POV shots, showing the point of view of the monster, like when he hunts these kids in the woods. And I just, certain shots I just remember ever since I was a kid. For example, at POV at going after this one kid, he screams, then you have all these random shots of the woods, and there's one shot of the glasses, and the blood just slowly sliding down the piece of the glasses. Like, shots like that, I still remember to this day from watching it when I was a kid. Also has a good soundtrack by, is it Joel Goldsmith? I know sadly he's passed away. He was related to Jerry Goldsmith. Yeah, Joel Goldsmith. And underrated score. That was really good. Definitely set the pace for excitement. I would still say I like Watchers 2 more, but the first Watchers I think is a entertaining monster movie. Number 11, Scrooged. Bill Murray Christmas film. I think it's very funny. It's my favorite telling of the Scrooge storyline. From the crazy commercial that Bill Murray sets up, where it was steer the shit out of you, to... if people see the film, they know what I'm talking about. If you don't, in the first 5-10 minutes, you kind of know what kind of movie you're getting at. Even like the fake movie they have, Lee Majors helping Santa Claus against the terrorists. And then the behind the scenes, and then try to set up this live musical production. I'll try to get these antlers onto this mice. Have you tried Staples? Will somebody stop the goddamn hammering? Like Bill Murray. This is a time when Bill Murray was away for quite a few years. I mean, he was not... He had done Ghostbusters, and around the same time, The Razor's Edge came out. He was very adamant about The Razor's Edge. It was close to him, that project. And that project didn't do anything. It was a flop. People didn't like it. No awards, nothing. I think that was a big bummer for Bill Murray. And then other than a cameo in Little Shop of Horrors, he didn't do anything for 4 years. From 84 to 88. And this was like Bill Murray's comeback. Directed by Richard Donner. I know Richard Donner and Bill Murray did not get along. I know, like, Bill Murray thought Richard Donner screwed up the film. I think the film made money. It was successful, but it didn't seem like people either had a good time making it or just didn't like the final product. But to me, it's one of the best Christmas movies. I think it's fun, it's hilarious, and I think it works very well. Works very well. I think Bill Murray, he showed his comedy chops, he showed some dramatic chops. I love Karen Allen, Marion from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Always wonderful to see her in there. Sweetheart of a lady. Really like Scrooged. Definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies. Number 10, They Live. It's Roddy Piper, it's John Carpenter. You have the famous fist fight between Roddy and Keith David. Love the look of the aliens. Love the idea of the sunglasses where you see the true way of the world. I mean, even to the point that the true world is black and white. You're just made to believe that it's in color. And They Live to apply to today. That's the thing about the storyline. I just don't like the very end of the film. I have issues with it. There's stuff I personally would have changed. I won't give it away for people who haven't seen They Live, but other than that, it was great to see John Carpenter and Roddy Piper work together, and I wish they could have worked together more. I wish we could have gotten like at least two more. And Roddy Piper, I mean, is fantastic. I've come here to chew bubblegum and tit ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. They Live is great. Like I said, if the ending was fixed a little bit... Well, okay, spoilers. When there's not spoilers, I'll put the can down. Spoilers. So again, when I put the can down, then you can come back. I don't like the way Chief David dies. I think that was very cheap. But I'm like, okay, I'm not really satisfied with that. Then the fact that Roddy Piper dies, it's cool that he gives the middle finger, and he won. But still, you kill off Chief David, at least let Roddy Piper live. Or don't kill off Chief David that way, where it's like a cheap... I just didn't like that. I mean, I'd rather prefer... If it ended like Assault on Precinct 13. It's John Carpenter. Well, Assault on Precinct 13 didn't end it that way. Thankfully. I mean, imagine, Chief David... Well, it'd be the same ending, but... Chief David and Roddy Piper walking together, and they don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know how it's going to be. Will the world change? Will it not change? We're going to see what happens next. Together, I would prefer that. So I just would prefer that. That's just me. But I still really like the movie. Number 9, Short Circuit 2. It's a great sequel. Surprisingly effective sequel. I thought that, people will be mad by Fisher Stevens, the way he portrays the character. I thought it worked. It worked for the time. I think Fisher Stevens gives a great performance. I don't think they're making fun. I have a feeling, you talk about those films now, and it would get canceled because of Fisher Stevens and his portrayal, but I still liked his performance. I liked Johnny Five being in the city. They definitely had more of a handle on Johnny Five as an effect, because Johnny Five is more animated. You tell they have a bit more money and a bit more experience, so that he feels more alive. He's able to move the face more, be more articulate, and wonderful effect, wonderful animatronic, however you want to describe it. And a bit of a ballsy sequel, not just on what some of the language is put into there, like when he's easily misled by these gang members, kick your balls into outer space, or it's a story about a guy who's innocent and misled by the toughness and immorality of some of the people in the city. And then by, the fact that he gets absolutely beaten up and almost killed. Like I say, it's a pretty ballsy thing. It's not something you would expect. And it's heartbreaking. Like, he's begging to stop, and it's slow motion, and it like breaks the eyeball. I'm like, man, that's fucking harsh. That's fucking harsh. So that but at the same time, when he gets his gear set up in, and then he's pissed off, and he's trying to get the bad guy, you even ruin for Johnny Five, even more so. Yes, as the song "Holding Out for a Hero" is playing. And Short Circuit 2, you really bought Johnny Five as a character. I mean, this is a character that is obviously not alive. It's effects, but the voice, I'm a big fan of Short Circuit 1, and I thought Short Circuit 2 was a great follow-up. Like, you really get a sense of Johnny Five being alive, and I would like to have seen a Short Circuit 3. I'd be curious to see what that story could have entailed, But sadly, this film did nothing. It was a big bomb. Even though it got some critical notices, Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, and they weren't fans of the first one. I know Michael Keane, the Choice voice, he thought the first one was but he liked the second one more. And yeah, the second one just has... It wasn't a repeat of the first, it was its own movie. Think about that, a sequel that is its own movie. I know that's weird to say. And nowadays, that's hard to find. But yeah, Short Circuit 2, I think, very solid. Number 8, Above the Law, when Steven Seagal was worth a shit. And that's why I get mad at... Well, there's many reasons why I get mad at Steven Seagal. But when I look at films like Out for Justice and Marked for Death and Above the Law, I'm like, this guy had it. I didn't mind his acting in these early films. I thought he had the intensity. I thought the quiet whisper of his voice actually worked, and he was in shape, and he was fast with his moves, and okay, Aikido, at least it's a different looking martial art compared to Van Damme, which was cool to see, because you see both, and you see two different styles, so it doesn't feel like you're seeing a repeat. You think you're above the law, well, you ain't above mine. You're probably getting to me number 5. I want to be number 1. And you got capable director in the case of Andrew Davis, who went on to direct The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Under Siege. You got people, Pam Grier's in the film, Sharon Stone is in the film. You got Henry Silva, who's the bad guy in Chuck Norris's Code of Silence, which Andrew Davis also did. And in a way, it's kind of like Andrew Davis wanted to redo Code of Silence, because it worked for Chuck Norris. Because you get the same actor to play the villain, Henry Silva. Henry Silva. You get cops in, I think, the same city. I think they're both Chicago. Because I know Andrew Davis had a thing for Chicago for a while. Some of the supporting actors seem like the same type of cops that were in there. Not all of them. Almost felt like a spiritual sequel to Code of Silence. It's about corruption, but with that Steven Seagal flavor to it. I thought the music worked. I thought it was a great showcase for Steven Seagal. And I'm like, okay, this is a opening for a Bane, and this is the new action star. I'm curious to see what happens next. And I wasn't alone. That's why, hell, Steven Seagal was outselling Van Damme. Like, you look at Marked for Death, you look at Hard to Kill, they're making more money than Van Damme's films. So people saw this guy that went, wow, he seems so cool. His demeanor, his voice, his whisper, breaking bones, and the way he's doing the stuff there, it's like, okay, that seems unique, and there's a presence to it, but he just let his ego get way far ahead of him and screwed things up. Number 7, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, one of my favorites. I say that because I have the uncut version, because someone long ago did something called the Uncut Recut, where they took Friday the 13th, Part 7, which got heavily cut by MPA. I don't know if he just ripped a VHS or he made it look like a VHS. Then he put all the gore scenes back in. And I understood why he made the rest of the movie look like a VHS, so it matches the gore footage. And there's music underneath the gore footage. Because I remember one time seeing it and there was no music. As in, like, I would see the footage separately. And no, there's music along with it. There's a musical score along with it, so it flows with the film. So you watch it, it's like you're watching a work print version of Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Which I'm fine with, because I think that actually gives it I don't need to see Friday the 13th in HD because they're Friday the 13th. They're not Blade Runner. I mean, if someone had it, I would give it a look, maybe change my mind. But at the same time, it's still, I get to see the full uncut version with all the gore in there. I get to see the gore. And again, there's music underneath the whole thing. It's not like music, then it stops with the cut footage. And the guy made it flow. And it was cool to watch. And that's the version I watch now. That is the version I watch now, which is very cool. And I've tried to upload it. It gets blocked on YouTube. It got blocked on BitChute because I uploaded it for a little while. And the guy even put like trailers at the beginning of other 1988 films. And overall, yeah, I really enjoyed. It was cool to watch the uncut version. So in my eyes, I have the uncut version, and that has become my second favorite after Jason Goes to Hell. And it's my favorite of the Paramount movies, because I got the gore, I got Kane Hodder's Jason, my favorite design. I love the look of him. I love the way he acts the part, pissed off, turns, goes over there. Laura Lincoln I like. I like the action quality of the fights using her telepathic powers. It's silly. All the Friday the 13th films are silly. The first one is silly. The first one is one of my least favorites. I'll say it. And I don't hate Friday the 13th, the original, but it's one of my least favorites. Because I'm sorry, I don't buy a 70-year-old woman grabbing a guy. Fuck, I buy an undead zombie Jason more than a 70-year-old woman grabbing Bing Crosby's nephew and having him on a door with a bunch of fucking arrows. At least that's telling me it's not real. And it's not giving me bullshit. At least, yeah, this is undead Jason. Of course it's not real. You're trying to tell me that, oh yeah, this woman, she must be a secret weightlifter because she fucking throws a body through the window like a sack of potatoes. And I'm like, she did that? As a murder mystery that you can't solve the mystery because the suspect only comes in the last 5 minutes, so it's a cheating bitch. I don't mind Friday the 13th as a time waster. I think the sequels are way better. I do think that. But yeah, Part 7, The New Blood, I do quite enjoy. Part 6, number 6 is Young Guns, my favorite Western. Love the cast: Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, LDP for life, Charlie Sheen, Dermot Mulroney, Casey Shamasco. You got Jack Palance. You got Terrence Stamp. You got, was it Terry Quinn? The guy from the Stepfather, the original Stepfather. You have a great cast. I love the music. That rock 80s guitar milled in with a Western motif. Just my kind of Western. And I thought the acting worked well. I thought the actors worked well together. Love Young Guns. I think the ending is much more satisfying of an ending compared to the sequel. I think the sequel sucks. I always will say the sequel sucks. I don't think the ending is satisfying. It wants to fuck things up because in the first one, oh, Chavez wrote Pals, but then he died before. That'd go a whole other thing. But yeah, Young Guns, love it, my favorite Western. Number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, my favorite Elm Street film. Once again, directed by Rennie Harlan. I love Lisa Wilcox as Alice. She's the character I'm most related to in the Elm Street franchise, because when I was growing up, I was a daydreamer. When I was in school, I was very much in my shell, very quiet, and then as the movie goes along, she gets more out of her shell. She becomes a stronger individual. When I used to have the intro to my videos, the music So many times I would get people asking me where that music is from. I'm like, oh, it's from Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. It's from the scene where Alice gets ready in front of a mirror. It's from this movie. That scene always stuck in my head. I think Robert England was a lot of fun as Freddy Krueger. I know it's called the MTV Freddy, but you know what? I thought it was highly fun. It was creative. It was energetic. Very high energy. Yes, I know it's such that the Dream Wars get killed, and will piss people off. I understand that. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, look what happened to Nancy and her dad in Elm Street 3. I mean, Nancy, she helps, but then, she gets killed by Freddy. And then the dad, John Saxon, he becomes a drunk and he gets killed by Freddy. So, Freddy kills them too. In Elm Street 3, for the new characters. Love the soundtrack in Elm Street 4. Love the special effects. The cockroach, to me, is my favorite death in the whole franchise. That was done by Stephen Mad George. Yeah, love Elm Street 4. Love his energetic palette. Number 4, Bloodsport. My favorite martial arts tournament movie. I like Enter the Dragon. I like Bloodsport more. I'm a big Van Damme fan. Kumite. I like the score, I like the music, I like the opponents. Chun Li, played by Bolo Yun. Great villain, intimidating, formidable, wonderful look to him. I'll break you like I break your friend. I like Curtis Jackson. Not Curtis. That's a different guy. I like, I think, is his name Jackson? Not Curtis Jackson, that's a different guy. But I do like the buddy who Van Damme gets with in Bloodsport. I do like him. Donald Gibb, I believe his name. I know he was in Revenge of the Nerds. I think his name's Donald Gibb. I do like him. He's a very fun side character. Van Damme, this is early in his career in acting, but I thought at least his performance is earnest and kind of innocent, and I've seen much worse. I liked his performance. I've seen so much fucking worse performances from martial arts guys. And Van Damme had that presence. He had that look. And he knew how to fight for film. Because fighting for film is different from fighting in real life. Wonderful martial arts scenes. Great fight scenes. Always loved Bloodsport. Classic. Brought Van Damme to the dance, so to speak. Number 3, Die Hard. Die Hard is a classic. What more can be said? It's fucking Die Hard. It's a fucking classic. It is. And stupid people that write stupid articles saying Die Hard is misogynistic, go get laid. I would say to those article writers, go find a woman, get laid, get some head, and get your head out of your ass. Number 2, The Blob from 1988. One of my favorite monster movies of all time. Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith are wonderful in it. Has a great sense of humor. It's very witty. From the movie within the movie, when these kids go see this film at the theater, it's a fun take on slasher films. I love the special effects, the practical effects of the Blob. It eating people away, they're melting inside it, or you're pulled into a damn sink, or bent in half like a wishbone. Yeah, some of the wider shots at the end where the humans are in front of it, it's not the best. I don't know if you call it blue screen, I don't know what technique that would be called, but the rest of the effects are fantastic. I never understood why, the Thing and the Fly deserve their praise, but the Blob gets put to the curb. I never understood why. Never understood it. It's well written, you understand the characters, you like their personalities, the movie goes at a great pace, it never gets boring. It's what you want in a monster movie. Likeable characters, sincerely fun humor, clever script, bits of action, gore, creative deaths, stuff that made me go, ugh. It's risky, even kills a kid, which was surprising. Directed by Chuck Russell, who go on to direct The Mask with Jim Carrey. He had directed Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Frank Darabont had a hand writing it, who would go on to direct The Shawshank Redemption, among others. The Blob is an absolute classic. And number one for me is Rambo 3. Because Rambo 3, I'm a big Rambo fan. I wear a Rambo cap in every video because of that. I may not like the last one, Part 5, but I love the first 4 Rambo films. Love them. Sylvester Stallone in his heyday. Rambo 3 to me is what I want in an 80s action film. I'll give you that the villain is not the best, but absolutely stellar action sequences. C4 tipped explosive arrows blowing up helicopters, a helicopter and a tank going at each other, hunting in caves with explosive arrows, big old machine gun firing, let the body count, let the bodies hit the fucking floor. Stallone as Rambo, absolute badass, top-notch pyrotechnics, and the money is absolutely on the screen. I liked that Richard Crenna's Troutman got more to do. He got to work side by side with Rambo. They got to be compadres in this, and you got more of them with a rapport with each other, toe to toe with each other against this onslaught of enemies. People always complain that Rambo doesn't have a personality. He has a little bit of a sense of humor. It's not like it goes haywire and he decides to stop for 5 minutes to do the stand-up act. I think it works. It's a blue light. What does it do? It turns blue. What do you say, John? Fuck him. To me, it works in sync with the Rambo character. And it shows that he's not the same as he was in First Blood. And that's like Troutman, he was the outsider, wanting to calm him down. And the second one, he was a friend, but he was kind of, he couldn't help his friend. And the third one, they're side by side with each other, comrades. It wasn't on purpose. That's a nice development of Troutman's character, where it was whether by accident or whatever, it was a great fateful accident. But yeah, I love Rambo 3. I never thought it was as bad as people made out to be. I never understood it. Like, what do you want in a Rambo film? You want Rambo as a badass, kicking ass, taking names, and he does that and then some. With absolutely stellar action sequences. The Taliban. Don't give me that bullshit. It's fucking stupid. Look at Russia. Look at any other country. Anything can change at any moment. You think he's your good guy, your bad guy. You think he's the bad guy, the good guys, all in between. It's about that time period. And that doesn't also reflect everybody in that country either. I mean, it's funny how people say it's much more complicated, but then when they talk about this movie, they try to simplify, go, ugh. Whatever. I'll give you that, again, the villain is not it's not Hans Gruber from Die Hard. It's not Bennett from Commando. It's not. I would even give you the villains in the first 2 Rambo films over this guy. Maybe they got a different actor or something else. He's just kind of there as a villain. But the rest of it, I think, is very stellar for his 80s action. This would be the last time you see all that stuff done for real on the screen. No CGI. Like, as close to a fucking G.I. Joe movie as you don't get at the end there. And I love it. I love Rambo 3. So, Rambo 3, The Blob, Die Hard, Bloodsport, Elm Street 4. Then Young Guns, Friday the 13th Part 7, Above the Law, Short Circuit 2, They Live. Then Scrooged, Watchers, Pulse, Prison, and Waxwork. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Alban. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.